Today's overview and review is on a beautiful game called Meadow. So if you've ever wondered what this game was about, stick around to find out.
Video. Why can't I get that? No. I'm gonna redo that.
Before we go over Meadow, my name is Krissy and this is my channel, 𝗧𝗜𝗠𝗦𝗢𝗥𝗘𝗑. If there is a board game out there that you would love for me to review, let me know what that is down in the comments below. Like this video and of course, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. So like I was saying, this game is adorable. It is all water painted and it's really nice to look at. So let's go ahead and take a look at the table. So a few different boards in this game. We have the main board where all of our cards are, and then we have the campfire board over here. This keeps track of our rounds, but also includes these gold tokens here. Now I have the one that is for 2 players, and with that one comes these 2 block tokens right here. You just want to block them off so that there aren't too many options for 2 players to be using over here. And for cards, like I was saying, all these include the west, south, and east cards right here. These are the decks for it. Now, we have North sitting over here by itself because halfway through the game, once we get past this right here, we're going to swap out the South deck for the North deck. And in the North deck is just extra, more high-end cards that we're going to need to be able to score those really big cards at the end of the game. So along with these cards right here, we have our starting card right here. This is double-sided. You get to choose which way you want to place this down after you collect your starting hand. So with that, for play area, we have 1 road. Each player gets a road token like this. You can either keep it in front of you or you can keep it to the side. But if you notice this icon right here, that means that it's not being used anytime that we're going to use this, which I'll explain how to use it later on in this video. You want to flip it over. So this means that it has been used for the cards that are going to be above it. Now, along with that, each player is going to get these 3 bonus markers right here. This is what's going to be used for over on the campfire over here. And I have this one here. This is actually for solo play, but we like to keep it down just so that we can remember what color we're playing as. Then we have the first player token, which gets passed around at the beginning of each round. Then we have these right here. These are path tokens. Now these are what we're going to be using to collect any of these cards, but also what we're going to be placing in the campfire board over here. I'll go through what all of these are on top of these cards in just a minute. So we have those, and then of course we have our big pile of roads just up here. And then for your starting hand, each player is going to take 1 row. So I'll take a row and then it will get refilled, and then the next player would be able to choose the row that they want. So in this case, let's just say we take this row. Now because we're playing with the South deck and not the North deck, once you collect these 4 cards right here, you can go ahead and take one of the cards from the North deck as well. So this is your starting hand. This would get refilled, and then the next player would choose whichever row that they would want. Then whoever has the first player token is the person who's going to start the game. So for Meadow, there's basically 2 actions that you can take for this game. One being taking a card from the main board or going over to the campfire and visiting over there and using one of your path tokens. You get to use the bottom action. Now the top action is how you're going to be choosing your cards from the main board. So that would look something like this. If you have this part right here, that is 1 card, 2 card, 3 cards, 4 cards, or whichever number that you want. And so how this works is if you placed it right here, you would take the first card. If you wanted this card, you would place this right here so that you can take that card. You can also place it down at the bottom here, and you would be able to choose one of these cards up here. But let's say you wanted the top card up here all the way, number 4 right in the middle, you would take this path token right here and place it in whichever row that you wanted so that you can take whichever top card you want. So it's basically the number is where in the row or column that you can take the card from. So once you pick a card from the main board, then you have the option to play that card or another card that you have in your hand. Now, if we're going over to the campfire location right here, we have all of our different path tokens, and what you would do is flip them over, place them in like so, and you would collect the bonus that is on them like that. This icon means that you can take one of the cards from anywhere in this board here, but unfortunately you won't be able to play the card either. If you have this card right here, this one is picking from one of the 3 decks that is in play. You can take 3 of the cards, look at them, take one, and then place the other 2 down at the bottom. Then we have this one right here. This one is taking 2 of the road tokens so that you can use later on when you do get some of those cards out. Then we have this one, which is actually being able to play 2 of the cards that you have in your hand, because normally when you're picking a card from here, you can only play 1 card. So this is a nice one if you have multiple that you want to get out right away. Then we have our last one. Like I said, the arrow or the question mark is basically you can pick whichever one you want. It basically acts as a mirror to any of these other 4 tokens. Same thing goes with this question mark down here. It can do any of the actions that are on the bottom. So that is how the path tokens work. Now we'll go over how that we're going to actually be able to play a card. So like I said, this is our starting hand right here. So there are a couple of rules whenever you're placing a card down. So this is our first card, and we can choose which one that we want to use. I don't really have anything that goes with any of these, so it doesn't matter which one. Now, when I say that is because all of these cards here have to be played in a specific way. All cards have to be played on top of a ground card. And a ground card has this icon right here. It's basically the ground, or this one is leaves on the ground, and then we have other symbols like these ones right here. You can play up to 10 ground cards in your whole play area, and you're only allowed to have those 10. So we have all of these cards in our hand, and I can explain. Put them all backwards. Okay, I can explain some of these. So there's prerequisites to whenever you're playing a card. So this one is a vertebrae on here. This one has a beetle. We can go ahead and place them down like this. Now, you have to place them either to the left or to the right. There is no way that you can reorder any of these cards after they've already been placed. Now, the prerequisites. Let's say that I do have this beetle here. If I wanted to, I can pick this card right here, because it does have a prerequisite to a beetle. So I can place this frog on top of the beetle for my turn, just like that. After you take a card, it gets replenished, and then it's the next player's turn. So that's kind of how these cards work for the prerequisites. Now, there's some that get up that are pretty out there, that you really start needing a couple of extra ones that you need a lot to do. Sometimes there's ones with the line across and it's either or. And if it doesn't have any of the slashes through it, then that means that you're going to need all of the prerequisites for that one. There are a lot of them that have the same icons, but with different icons at the top. Now, let's say that we are able to play this card here. If there's more than one icon on here, you can choose which card that you're going to be placing that one on top of. If I had a flower here, and let's say I had a house or another fence on this one, I'd be able to place this one down because it was next to that one. If I wanted to place this one down and I had 2 of these ground cards, then I can put them on any of the 2 that are the ground cards, that are the specific ground cards for that one. So that's kind of how it works. You really start to get a lot of cards that feed up on top of each other. Now here, there's one that I can do, this one right here. It's a vertebrae and this specific ground card. So I would be able to take this one, and I would only be able to put it on this exact one. Now, whenever you're laying your cards down, I didn't mention that when I was doing this one, you always want to leave the ground types here always visible. And whenever you're placing them on top of each other like this, move that out of the way. Whenever you're placing these ones, these right here, these leaves are the points for at the end of the game. So once you have everything all built up in your area, you're going to be counting these leaves points, because that's what's going to count as all of your points at the end. What counts as points as well is whenever you have some of these placed down and they meet the requirements for these over here, which is the bonus on the campfire board over here. I do have a fence and I have a frog. Fortunately, there isn't a frog here, but let's say this was a frog and this is a fence. Whenever I choose to go over here at the campfire location as the extra bonus, other than whatever the bonus is down here, you can also come and sit at the campfire. So you take the smallest number token, the bonus token that you have, and then you can place it wherever you have the bonus right here. So at the end of the game, whenever everything is all said and done, you're going to be counting the points from your cards, but also with the tokens that are over there on the campfire. there are two other types of cards that are on the main board here. So the first one that we're going to look at is this card right here. These are landscape cards. Now, once you get them into your hand, you can place them as long as you meet the requirements here. This one only requires a road. I haven't used my road yet, so any of these landscape cards, these get placed right above of all of your other cards, and the road goes in front of it, and it gets flipped so that everybody knows that it has been used. And that is the only requirement for that one. Now, there are other cards that you can place on top of these for extra bonus points, and those cards are called these discovery cards, which are these ones right here with the briefcase on them like that. This one is only requirement is a landscape card, so it would go right on top, and again, following the same rule as these cards down here, you do not want to cover up any of your points. So the round ends once all of your path tokens have been used. So once that has happened, everybody recollects all of their path tokens, and the first player token gets placed to the next player. And then we go and we start all over again until the next time that we do that. And then we would advance to the next round. So once we get to the end of the 6th round, that is when we're going to be starting to calculate all of our points. Now, all of the points are, like I was saying, all of these leaves here on all of the different cards. So you would count up however many that you have, and you would also count up these bonus tokens right here. So if you got to have all 2, 3, and your 4th one out here, then that would be 9 points right there. So you would add that to your score, and then at the end, whoever has the most points is the player who has won Meadow. So that was Meadow. I hope you enjoyed it. So we really enjoy this game. I think what caught us was the artwork for this one. This is all, I do believe, water paint. Somebody actually painted all of these. Somebody has the talent for this game to paint all of this. I think every single time that we play this game, I'm oohing and I'm eyeing after all of these cute little creatures and the paintwork. I think it's just adorable. This artwork on these cards, I think, is what makes this game. It is the show. It is the star to the show, these cards. That's what I think anyway. I really enjoy that we are switching up some of the cards, because the cards that are in the N, there's a lot of them that don't show up very often. So I'm glad that we're able to shuffle them instead of having even less maybe and have them placed in all of the other cards. I don't know how else it would work. I'm really happy that we can switch that in or double it up. Swap it in. Yeah, swap it in. So that we can get some of those extra cards. I enjoy that part. I enjoy the building up and having the prerequisites of the cards that you actually need. So it does just look like a typical card game. It's a cute card game. It should be easy. It is easy. It's a lighter game. We enjoy it. The box does say 60 to 90 minutes, I do believe, to play this game. And that's because of all the prerequisites on these cards that you're playing. So you need to think, okay, I need this and this for that. But then I also need that type of ground card for it, so I'll have to get that one. And, well, my bird's going to eat the vertebrae, but then I still need the vertebrae for this specific card. So I'm going to have to do that 2nd or 3rd action. And then by the time you notice, you don't have any more of your path tokens, and we're already at round 5, and you better hurry up. That's how I felt whenever I'm playing this game. I get really into this game, just thinking about my next move. AP, kind of, just planning, trying to get, it's not like what's going to get me the most points either. It kind of is towards the end, but for me, it was just thinking in my head, I need this for this one, but I also need that one for this one, so I have to do that one first before I can do that one. Almost like a math equation for me. But I enjoyed that. I really enjoy that with this game. I think the campfire is a really neat little touch too, adding all of these tokens here, and they are random. So there is a board, or there is a bag with all of the different symbols that they have throughout the whole game. So they are random, and it usually takes a little bit because you have these ones here that are hard to get to. This one, and I know that there is the hawk symbol, and I think one other one that's in the N pile right here. So they're a little bit harder to get, right? So you have to wait for the other half of the game to actually be able to get these. But then you have these ones here, which are a little bit more easier to get. They come out within the decks that we already have. So hopefully by the time that the North deck comes out, then maybe you already have your other tokens, and then you can place your 4, because you have to place your smaller ones before you can place the bigger number bonus token. So just extra points for that wise. And I think it's really neat. I really enjoyed the 2 actions. You have 2 actions basically. And whatever you're playing, whichever one, so you're either drawing the card, or when you visit the campfire, you have more options. So you're playing the campfire to be able to get the other options that you might not be able to get with just playing the card. So there's like the ones where you can just pick 1 out of the 16, doesn't matter where it is, you can pick it. Or the fact that you can play 2 cards. Because what if you just keep taking these cards and then maybe not being able to play them because you haven't gotten the card that you needed to for that prerequisite, then maybe you do get it and then bam, you can just play the 2 cards right away. I really like doing that, especially with the 4-point cards, because then you're just, it's almost like a, you're getting an extra move out of it because you're able to play that extra card down. So I really enjoyed that. I think the whole way that the game plays is really, really good. I don't have anything negative to say about the game. I think it is a little bit lighter. It does take a little bit longer to play. I think our first game was our shortest game, and I feel like it's just because we didn't really know what to do. We weren't really thinking and how to build that up yet with all the cards, right? But I enjoyed this at 2 players. I think it plays really well at 2 players. I really enjoyed it. I haven't gotten any other players. I do believe it is up to 4 players. So you can play like that. It would be a little bit big because you can have 10 cards, which is kind of nice. I feel like if you wanted to make it a little bit more difficult, you would lessen that. So that might be a house rule that we implement in this game, just because then once you get to like house, fence, yeah, pretty much those 2, what you're building up is pretty much done. There's not really much anything that goes on top of that unless you get the card that goes, well, no, because that one just goes beside a house or a fence. So I feel like house is kind of like where it's at as soon as it's done. So then you have to move on to the other ones. So I kind of feel like if you were to reduce the 10 cards that you're actually allowed to play, I feel like the game would be that much more tight and probably a little bit more thinky. I would say that it won't be as high scoring either. And scoring with this game is another thing too. It's very easy to score these cards because that's all you're scoring. That's all that's on them basically are these leaves. But I found that the game was really close. I think every time that we've played, it's always been like within 5 points between the 2 of us. I'm not sure that this, and I've said this because I've actually me and Nick have done this game live. We've played this game live, so if you have missed out on that game, I will link that up here. I'm going to ruin it for you a little bit. At the end of that game, Nick did give his little Nick's review, and I had mentioned in it that I don't think that this is a game that I will be playing with him. When we play games, we are much more of medium-heavy gamers, but this is a game that's still going to stay in our collection. This is still a game that I want to play with my friends because they aren't really into board games that much. So anyways, this is a game that I would definitely play with my friends, maybe not something for Nick and I. So if you're into light games, card games, good looking games, then this is probably something for you to check out. So anyways, that was my overview and review for Meadow. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you next time. Okay, my eye is really bugging me. I'll figure it out. All right. That's what this game is? I have no idea. I ain't got a clue. Is it full moon?